Season 6 of The Simpsons is generally regarded to be one of the best seasons of the show's 30-plus year run. It had some of the most classic episodes of the entire series. Itchy and Scratchy Land, The Stonecutters, Bart's Girlfriend. Pretty much every single episode of this season is top tier. And the season finale, although there probably are better episodes in that season, is probably the most famous episode of the entire series. I'm talking about Who Shot Mr. Burns, which left us on a massive cliffhanger that had everybody guessing who did it throughout the whole summer. But of course by now we all know who did it, so why talk about such an old episode? Well, recently somebody noticed a little detail in the episode that might tell a story that went unnoticed for decades. Look at this frame. Do you notice anything weird about it? If you did, you probably have more questions than answers right now. And if you didn't notice anything, bear with me. For this video, let's take a closer look at Who Shot Mr. Burns. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. I've actually been playing Raid Shadow Legends a lot and finding that it's more complicated than I thought at first. Sitting there for hours and hours grinding it out, listening to podcasts in the background. I'm caught up in ranking up my champions and making my gear better, and then I'm in the arena getting my ass beat still by characters that are a lower level than me because they have skills that complement each other. Like shit, I thought I was gonna be able to just, grind a little bit, steamroll everybody, but no, I gotta think about what I'm doing. The point being that it actually is a pretty addictive game with a few different ways to play it. Please join my clan because I can't do this all by myself. Just go to the description and click the link within the next 30 days if you're a new player, and you'll get 100,000 silver and a free champion sent to your inbox. March! Who Shot Mr. Burns begins with the tragic death of the beloved class pet, Super Dude. When groundskeeper Willie goes to bury him, he unexpectedly strikes oil, making Springfield Elementary rich. But while the school faculty is planning on how they're gonna spend the school's newfound wealth, Mr. Burns hatches a scheme to steal it from them. He winds up doing this by tapping the well before they do. And throughout the episode, Mr. Burns manages to accumulate more and more enemies. Like Homer, whose name he can't remember, and Bart, who vows revenge after a gush of oil breaks his dog's legs, and Moe, whose bar closes because of the fumes, and Barney, who can't drink at Moe's bar anymore. Not to mention guest star Tito Puente. This all culminates in a town hall meeting where the citizens of Springfield decide what they're gonna do about Mr. Burns. A meeting that Mr. Burns interrupts by blocking out the sun. Infuriated, the residents of Springfield empty out into the streets and somebody shoots Mr. Burns off camera. This sets off the mystery that captivated America for the entire summer of 1995. Everyone was a suspect. Everyone had a motivation to kill Mr. Burns. And ultimately, when The Simpsons came back that fall, it was revealed that the culprit was none other than Maggie Simpson, who accidentally shot Mr. Burns when he was trying to steal her candy. It was an episode full of red herrings and misdirection, yet one such attempt at throwing people off the trail might have went unnoticed for decades. In an r/ask Reddit thread, a user named Game of Jabrones responded to a post asking what fan theory about a movie, TV show, or video game do you see as 100% canon? In the Who Shot Mr. Burns episode of The Simpsons, Mr. Burns is discovered shortly after being shot and is surrounded by a number of characters, including Krusty the Clown. However, on close inspection, it is absolutely irrefutable that it isn't Krusty at all, but Homer Simpson in Krusty makeup, compared to when Homer dressed up as Krusty while in clown college. Homer was actively on his way to kill Mr. Burns while disguised as Krusty, echoing when he saw Sideshow Bob rob the Quickie Mart while disguised as Krusty, but was beaten by mere seconds when Maggie shot him. Brian Xerox rewatches and pauses Who Shot Mr. Burns, Part 1, cross-references with Krusty character design. Holy shit, that is mind-blowing. It really is Homer. Even the way he suspiciously eyes up Ned Flanders' tracks. Good eye. What an Easter egg. Now, aside from the hair and the clown makeup, Homer and Krusty the Clown do look extremely similar, down to having the same exact body shape. And these similarities are by design because originally Krusty the Clown was supposed to secretly be Homer. It was going to be kind of an ironic thing where Bart looked up to Krusty as a hero, but then he had absolutely no respect for Homer, despite them being the same person. That twist was completely abandoned before the show was ever made, but the similarities stayed there. But they do have some differences. The main giveaways are that Krusty has bags under his eyes, he wears a rubber nose, and he has a droopier mouth than Homer. In the episode Homie the Clown, which also happened in Season 6 a few episodes before Who Shot Mr. Burns, we can see that even when dressed up like Krusty, they can still be distinguished through these characteristics. And it's these differences that are apparent when we're looking at Krusty the Clown at the end of Who Shot Mr. Burns. No eye bags, a round mouth, and a painted on nose as opposed to a rubber one. Pretty clearly Homer disguised as Krusty, right? And the theory that this is actually Homer and not Krusty has a few other points to support it. First and most importantly, Homer isn't present in this scene. And then you also have the plot point that Krusty had been on vacation. He gets back to Springfield during the town hall meeting just after Mr. Burns blocked out the sun. He's wearing shorts and a shirt with the collar unbuttoned. Yet, if we look at the last scene, he's suddenly wearing a bow tie. Why would Krusty, amidst all this panic, take it upon himself to suddenly change into his show attire? Especially when he had just gotten back from vacation and didn't even have a chance to go home yet. Homer, on the other hand, was shown consciously planning to go shoot Mr. Burns. He could very well have planned this disguise ahead of time, and he only just got a Krusty costume a few episodes ago. And since Homer had already seen someone impersonate Krusty while committing a crime and they almost got away with it, it wouldn't be unthinkable for him to try it himself. To me, in an episode like this that's very deliberately trying to put a bunch of clues out, put a bunch of red herrings out, and is trying to basically just get people guessing who did it, it would make sense for them to put in these kinds of details to lead you in different directions. This was an event that was all about misdirection, even behind the scenes. To prevent the true ending from being leaked, they even went as far as to animate a few different fake endings, some of which were shown later on in a clip episode. So it might be possible that the angle where Homer is dressed up as Krusty might have been a part of one of the fake endings. But at this point, nobody really knew for sure. But we would find out more about this theory when it was posted to Twitter by a user named BrianKidsMate2. His tweet about it went super viral with almost 15,000 retweets. How the fuck did I never spot this? And it was because of this tweet that we'd wind up finding what the truth about this situation was. As fans debated over whether this was Homer or whether this was Krusty, Bill Oakley, who was a writer on the episode, chimed in. This is inaccurate. That is Krusty, not Homer in a Krusty disguise. And later on, he actually managed to dig up the original script from this episode. Okay, I found this on my computer. Haven't looked at this file in 25 years. Please note, I do not think all these appeared in the final show, but you will see that we specifically asked that Homer should not appear in the final scene, and we do not ask that he be disguised as Krusty. The pertinent part of the script reads as follows. None of the prime suspects, Homer, Bart, Lisa, Grandpa, Skinner, Willie, Smithers, Moe, Barney, Tito Puente, should be visible on the street or in the crowd at the end. So the final word from one of the episode's writers and corroborated by the actual script tells us that this is Krusty and not Homer in disguise. Furthermore, as Bill pointed out, Homer's Krusty costume from the episode earlier in the season is actually a little bit different. When Homer's Krusty, he doesn't have the middle tuft of hair on his head, but in this scene he does. Meaning that this is kind of a weird amalgamation of actual Krusty and Homer dressed up as Krusty. And with that in mind, we have to ask the question, why would such a mistake exist? It's more than a simple case of Krusty being drawn off model by accident because he's seen like this in multiple different shots. This is what Bill thinks happened. It's very possible that, despite the fact that the script specifically said not to put Homer in the scene, the animators made a mistake and put him in there anyway. And I remember following this throughout that summer, and probably more than anybody else, people thought that Homer was the shooter. And a big part of that speculation was fueled by the fact that he wasn't in that scene. This was something that was definitely very much by design, and it couldn't be compromised on, so if Homer was put in there accidentally, they had to redo it. So what's the simplest way to fix this problem? Instead of redrawing the entire scene, you just take Homer and turn him into Krusty because they're almost the same anyway. So although the theory that this character is Homer dressed up as Krusty can be justified, it's most likely a case where this was simply a mistake that was covered up a little bit sloppily. But anyway, that's the end of this mystery. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, check out my video about the Lost Ninja Turtles character. I'm out.